Yeah, this and a lot more can and does go wrong when you're using the Vision Pro. But after having spent $3,500 or roughly 3.5 lakh rupees, it's not the best feeling. Now look guys, there's definitely a lot of good things, but then very soon the bad things start to take over. Let's talk about both and let's start with the good stuff first. Now the first thing that will blow you away is eye tracking on this, or rather eye control. It just knows what you're looking at. Like it could be as small as a dot or even a play button. It just knows you're looking at it. It's so good that you can literally type with a decent speed on the keyboard by just looking at the keys. And I think this was the key to mastering spatial computing, because the system needs to know what you're looking at, and this nails that. And if you do get a chance to try this on, that eye tracking is going to be the most surreal, hyper-realistic experience you'll get. The other thing it got right is augmenting reality. Like, it's almost real. Windows or apps don't just float in real-time space. They exist and they stay. It remembers which window was where, and you can have them placed close by or far or somewhere else. And obviously, it's really amazing how opaque those windows are and how sharp they look. And let's say that your room is too small and you don't see enough space left to arrange your apps. You could just turn on immersive mode and there you go. And there are many such environments that you can choose from that keep changing basis your local time. The next thing that amazes you is just how smooth the UI feels. So it goes up to 96 Hz, so it's ample smooth, and just look at the way you can glide windows in space. Or even when you scroll through movie titles or your apps, it's buttery smooth, and all you need to do is pinch and hold that pinch as you move through the air. Now, the other thing that this is impressively good at is the overall quality of the display. I mean, the sense of immersion you get, it's seriously breathtaking. I mean, forget about Sony's PSVR 2 or Meta Quest 3. The micro OLED display on this just beats everything. And by the way, it's got like a crazy number of pixels in there, which actually results into a problem, which I will talk about later in the video. I also think it's very cool that you could input text by literally tapping keys in the air. It's far from being used for normal typing scenarios, but it still feels really cool. As a kid, I used to watch Tom Cruise in Minority Report do all this kind of stuff, and I used to think, would I even be alive to use tech like that? And this is the starting point, guys. I mean, it's far from where we want to be, but I think it's a very good first step. Now, lastly, guys, obviously they've done things to make this as comfortable as they thought they could make it to be. Like, there's no battery pack or tech in the back side of your head, which makes it very comfortable for you to just tag on and lie down. But that does mean battery needs to be lugged around separately. They've also made sure the connection isn't just magnetic, but you have to twist it to hook strong so that it doesn't disconnect easily. The speakers are placed right here, which delivers to your ears quite nicely. I mean, this thing right here, it gives you a very real glimpse of what the future could look like. And it's definitely a first of its kind. But it isn't something that you'd want to spend $3,500 on, or roughly 3.5 lakhs. Let me tell you why. Look, it's got most of the problems that any first-gen product tends to have. So some of them are very obvious and some of them aren't, but they tend to surface as in when you use them more. Let me explain. First, the more obvious one, and as much as they would have tried, this isn't the most comfortable thing to wear, especially for too long. And it's both the weight and the weight distribution. So it sort of pulls your head down as you try to counter it and keep your head up. That's an issue, especially when you wear it for longer. It does get better if you replace the regular band with the dual loop band, as it takes off some front-loaded weight and it distributes it across your head. But still, it does have to be lighter for you to be able to wear it on for longer and enjoy it without really getting a headache. There's another issue that's quite scary. So let's say you've got the battery in your pocket, you're using the Vision Pro, and once you're done with it, you keep it on the table. Now, there's a high chance that as you walk away, thinking you've got a phone in your pocket, and God forbid, you drop this thing on the floor. That, I think, is a major design flaw, and I can't wait to hear stories about this. The other issue is just lack of apps. I mean, there's no Netflix, there's no YouTube, there's no Spotify app. Like there's Disney Plus, but only US accounts will work on this for now. So you buy this and then you try to use it in another country, it's not gonna work. All native apps are there, like FaceTime, messages, photos, freeform, etc. But you do need apps that you can use on a daily basis, especially to, watch content or stream videos. Now, Apple does say that there are over 600 apps as of now that are compatible with the Vision Pro. But hang on. A lot of these apps are just, time pass apps. Like they're not apps that you will find yourself using regularly or every day. And the other thing is, a lot of the apps are not even accessible outside of the US. So now in the App Store, there are a handful of apps that you can access directly. And while you'll find a few useful apps, most of them are just to pass your time. And sure, these are apps that would be great practice apps to actually get more hands-on with this product and enjoy for, what it is. But the most important part is that this product makes the most sense when there are others around you who use it and you can have shared experiences with them. So for example, there's Microsoft Teams and Zoom that's supported on the Vision Pro, but who are you going to use it with? Because let's face it, this is $3,500 and not a lot of people are going to be spending money on a product that's first gen, which has got its own share of problems, unless you do enjoy the occasional talking to yourself. Be my guest. The other thing is I saw MKBHD's video. He demonstrated that the pass-through capabilities of this headset are pretty good. It mimics the world around you better than any other VR headset today. And this he did while he was playing table tennis in reality. Because ideally, the cool thing would be that I could actually, or virtually, play table tennis with a friend who also has a Vision Pro and that there was an app that let us play together. But that's not happening right now. Or we could be watching a movie together, sitting in a theater, but no. But what about productivity? And let me tell you that this is not built just yet to make your work fast or very efficient. For starters, you can't really input too quickly. It's always one letter at a time. And second, the accuracy of this thing quite a bit depends on the lighting and the perspective. Like if the light around you is too low, you might even just get a warning from the Apple Vision Pro. So if you think you're going to be in the bedroom with someone sleeping next to you, but you'd be able to work in peace, you might lose accuracy there. Or if you think you're going to be flying in an aeroplane and they dim the cabin lighting, you may actually have issues using it. And that's when the real frustration of having spent $3,500 on this is going to start kicking in. And then there's the battery constraint. So this thing will go on for about 2.5 to 3 hours, or maybe 3.5 hours, depending on what you use, on a single charge. And then you've got to wait to charge back, forcing you into a break. Sure, you could always carry like a portable charger and have this charging at the same time, but that's really not convenient and it kind of forces you to not move too much. And sure, you can buy an additional battery for $200 to work around it, but that is if you're brave enough to continue to use this for so long. Now again, these are just first generation product problems and these were the more obvious ones. But let me tell you, a couple of non-obvious minor problems that will still annoy you. For example, the speakers on this thing, they're located right here, but it kind of throws sound at your ears and that means there's a bleed. So it's but natural that people around you can hear whatever it is that you're hearing. Now obviously you can pair your AirPods with it, which you're more likely to have if you're buying this, and that can give you that privacy that you need. Now the other issue is that let's say you want someone in your family or your friends to be able to try this on and experience what you experience. It's not that easy because look, this whole thing is calibrated for eye controls for your eyes and all the interactions are very personal to how you use the Vision Pro. So most likely when you give it to them, it's not going to work properly and they may not even be able to enjoy this the way you do. So you'll have to recalibrate it for them and then when you get it back, you'll have to recalibrate it for yourself. Now remember when I said that this has great display and it has a lot of pixels and I said that that actually poses a problem for this? Well, the problem is there's so many pixels that it can't even render all of the pixels at the same time. And so it only renders the pixel around the area that you're looking at. And the other, if you've noticed in these screen recordings, are generally a bit less detailed or they're blurry. And I also said that this thing augments reality quite well, but that's because it's just better than anything else that we have out there. It's just the best amongst them. Now here's another issue. Okay, now let's say you're traveling with this and sure, you could just put this on and you think this is good enough, but actually hold on. This is still exposed, right? The lenses inside. And you can obviously scratch them, food can spill or anything, which means that you will have to buy the travel case that comes for another $200. And if you're traveling, you would want another battery pack. So it's not just $3,500. If you're someone who's planning to use this while traveling, you're probably going to need to spend the $400, $200 on this, $200 for the travel case. That brings out to an almost $3,900. Come on. So yeah, there are some finer issues, but honestly, it's actually the DIScomfort, the app ecosystem, which is quite small, and the lack of shared or connected experiences that makes this more of a demo piece than an actual piece of tech that people would buy for everyday use. Apps and people, both of them need to come together to make this a real successful product. I mean, my 2 cents on this is a work in progress product and it looks like Apple ran out of people to get feedback from. So what they did is, hey, let's ship it out. let's give it to people for $3,500 and get all that feedback that they're missing and make it a better product to then sell off in like 2026 or 2027. Essentially, we're funding their R&D and giving them feedback. But until then, I think this is more of a product that either us tech creators would buy, or people who are early tech adopters have money to spend. They'll, buy it to play around with it. And of course, for developers who would want to create the future apps that would actually run and make this a product that everyone can buy and use. But nevertheless, guys, it's a very cool product. It's definitely futuristic. It's definitely where we want to be heading in. And this, I think, is a pretty good first step. Just not good enough to be selling in the markets right now, especially at that atrocious price. But it's a good product. Anyway, that's pretty much it, guys, about the Apple Vision Pro. Now, if you still have any questions, doubts, if you want to know what it can do, what it can't do, should you buy it, if you plan to, please drop them in the comments section. I'll definitely help you guys out. And if you did enjoy watching the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification icon, and mark all. Really helps the channel grow. I'll see you guys in the next one.